Live from WTVO 17 and your home team, Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Bullets fly in several Rockford locations. We're live from one of the scenes after 6 people are hit across the city.
Just hours before that, police make a public plea for cooperation. They say it's the only way to reverse a recent violent trend.
COVID-19 strikes the baseball diamond. The Rockford Rivets say they won't play any games until further notice.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. 6 people go to the hospital after separate shootings this afternoon in Rockford.
As of right now, police haven't said much about either crime. The most recent was just over an hour ago on Auburn Street near Kilburn. And before that, 3 people were shot around 12:30. Police found a couple of those victims on Michigan Avenue just west of South Main. That's where we find Alexis Carpello. Alexis, you were at both scenes. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Eric and Mimi, there's been multiple locations and multiple people who are now suffering from gunshot wounds this afternoon. Right now, I'm at the intersection of Holland and Michigan Avenue, right next to Providence Baptist Church, where at least one person was taken to the hospital. I spoke with the sister of that victim. She says after hearing 6 gunshots, her brother came back into the house bloody from being shot in the leg. She mentioned 2 people went running in the opposite direction on foot. Police were here investigating, and when I went and spoke with some neighbors, they say this is a typically safe neighborhood.
We're all connected together, all of us. We know each other's names. We know what's going on in their households. We're all up to date with each other.
Another shooting happened with 3 people suffering from non-life-threatening injuries. When I arrived at that scene, a parked car in the Dollar General off of Auburn had at least 5 bullet holes. Now that's 6 people that are suffering from non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. We don't have any further update from police, but we are going to continue to stay here and talk with some more residents in the neighborhood. But for now, live in Rockford for your home team, I'm Alexis Carpello.
Alexis, thanks for the live report.
The shootings come on the same day area law enforcement renew efforts to remove illegal guns and drugs from the streets. Winnebago County State's Attorney Marilyn Height-Ross and Rockford Police Chief Dan O'Shea announced charges against 7 men this afternoon. John Shanklin is in custody. The 32-year-old is charged with unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. If convicted, he faces 14 years behind bars. The remaining 6 are all still on the loose. Charges range from felon in possession of a firearm to delivery of cocaine. The investigation, with help from the FBI, started last September. Height-Ross says numerous guns were recovered, including rifles and revolvers.
Investigations like these often rely on tips from the community to get the ball rolling.
But according to Rockford Police, those tips have not been flowing in like they once did. Reporter Dylan Saraki spoke with Police Chief Dan O'Shea. He tells Dylan a direct line can be drawn between the uptick in crime and fewer tips.
Our gun violence in Rockford, well, it went down for 3 years. We were doing well, and this year it's just gone the other way. We've had way too many shootings since March of this year, too many homicides.
Cleaning up city streets is more difficult without help from the community.
We routinely have people that get shot that don't want to cooperate with us. And that really hampers us because we're letting one person go who just did a shooting. Historically, that person's going to go do a bunch more shootings.
Rockford Police Chief Dan O'Shea is asking anyone with information on recent shootings to come forward.
That's the #1 strategy, is the 147,000 people that live here working together to get rid of the guns. That's the most successful strategy we have.
If you are fearful of police or fearful of repercussions because your name is in a police report, they can contact us. We keep everything confidential, anonymous. We never know who the people are that are calling us.
Jeff Stovall coordinates the Rockford area Crime Stoppers. He says because of COVID-19, they experienced a decrease in call volume.
We were shut down for 2 months. We answered our voicemails, our emails, but we were not actually in the office at that time.
Now that Crime Stoppers is back in the office, Stovall is encouraging people to call in with any tips.
The officers cannot be everywhere, and we need the information coming in from the citizens because no matter what crime you have, somebody knows something about that crime. So whether they want to contact the police departments or contact Crime Stoppers, we need the information.
In Rockford for your home team, I'm Dylan Saraki.
Rockford police arrest a man they say is responsible for an April murder. Preston Scott faces 7 counts of first-degree murder. He was already in custody for something unrelated. The 25-year-old is accused of killing David Foley. April 2nd, officers were called to Oregon Avenue near Harmon Park. Foley was found outside his car. He'd been shot several times. Foley died at the hospital. Police make an arrest after a suspicious apartment fire. Michelle Cairns is charged with aggravated arson. We told you about the fire Tuesday night. It broke out just after 8 inside an apartment on Auburn Court in Rockford. According to court records, 51-year-old Cairns started the fire by lighting several items inside on fire. No one was hurt. One pet died. Cairns was taken to a local hospital for a psychological evaluation. She was arrested when released.
The Rockford Rivets won't be playing ball this weekend.
A member of the organization's tested positive for the coronavirus. Sports Director Scott Levers here with more. Scott.
Yeah, the Rivets notified us late this afternoon that one person in the organization has tested positive, so they are pausing their season indefinitely. General Manager Chad Bauer says he believes this one positive test is an isolated incident. He wouldn't say if it's a player, coach, or a team employee. Bauer says the Rivets want to shut things down to ensure the safety of their players, host families, employees, and fans. The Rivets will be consulting with Northwoods League officials and health officials to determine when an appropriate time would be to restart their season. The Rivets were supposed to play tonight in Wisconsin and home games tomorrow and Sunday. All of those games are off. So far this season, the Rivets have played 29 games since starting their season July 1st. Again, the Rivets are pausing their season. They're not canceling it. They have games scheduled through August the 20th. Eric and Mimi?
All right, thanks, Scott. The state of Illinois ends July with the highest daily total of COVID-19 cases this month. Just over 1,900 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. 21 people died. The 7-day positivity rate remains at 3.9%. Since the start of the pandemic, nearly 179,000 people have been infected. Almost 7,500 of those have died. 11 Illinois counties are at warning levels for COVID. They're the ones you see there on your screen. Joe Daviess County is among them. There are several metrics that can trigger a warning level, including a 7-day positivity rate above 8%. State officials say the increase in cases is mostly tied to people 30 years old or younger having large social gatherings. Yesterday, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker warned some regions of the state could be forced back into phase 3 of the recovery.
COVID-19 has been shown to affect different people differently. For those with diabetes, the coronavirus can be particularly dangerous. It's not clear why the virus hits diabetics so hard, but diabetes compromises the immune system. That can impact patient ability to recover from infection. Local experts say it's critical to keep blood glucose levels within normal limits. That means a reading of between 70 and 180.
Patients who have diabetes, type 1 or type 2 diabetes, they're not at a higher risk of contracting the virus, but what the issue is that if their diabetes is not well managed or under good control, or if they already have other underlying diabetes-related complications, they're at much higher risk for serious complications or death from the virus.
As of 2018, just over 34 million Americans were diabetic, according to the American Diabetes Association. More than 7 million of those were undiagnosed. If your child is attending in-person classes at Rockford this fall, we now know what time their day will start and end.
Rockford Public Schools released new start and dismissal times for the upcoming school year. Most elementary school times will remain the same as in years past, though some have shifted by 10 to 15 minutes. Middle and high school start times were moved back by 15 minutes. You can find the full schedule for each RPS 205 school on mystateline.com. Rockford schools start September 1st.
COVID-19 has canceled countless fundraisers across the state line. That's forced local nonprofits to get creative in order to stay in operation. Woman's Space in Rockford is taking its money-raising efforts online. The group will hold an auction called Auctioning in Place for Women's Space. Money will help support programs that aim to empower women to become creative, confident, and impactful leaders. Organizers say the support they've already received is encouraging.
Planning this auction has been an incredible experience because so many businesses and individuals have been incredibly generous and really come together to help us during these challenging times. It just shows how rich the local Rockford community really is.
The auction runs August 1st through the 8th. You can find a link to place a bid on mystateline.com.
Now, your first warm weather forecast with meteorologist Kevin Doon.
747 live look over the Poplar Grove Airport using a Mercy Hill SkyTrack. We're seeing a little bit of sunshine and blue sky peek through, but most of our skies are being covered by some pretty thick cloud cover overhead. Temperatures were a little bit cooler today. We did make it into the lower 80s for much of the area, but a lot of the area was stuck in the 70s for our Friday. 80 degrees is the current temperature here in Rockford, whereas it's 77 in Freeport, 76 in Monroe, and 81 for current temperature up in Janesville. Another reason that temperatures were a little bit cooler today was some strong winds coming out of the northeast. You can see many areas experiencing sustained wind speeds around 10 to 15 miles an hour. These northeasterly winds bring a lot of cooler air down into the state line, and this cooler pattern is going to stick with us for quite some time. The biggest reason is because this pattern our jet stream has taken on. Out to our west, a big ridge has formed, this sort of overarching pattern in the jet stream. That's actually pulling a lot of warmer air up from the south, so it's going to keep the western half or so of our country nice and warm for the next several days. But here in the state line for the eastern half of the country, the complete opposite is true. We're experiencing this big trough down to our south, this sort of dipping pattern in the jet stream, and that is doing the exact opposite. That's pulling a lot of colder air down from the north, situates itself over the eastern half of the country. It's going to keep us nice and cool, keep temperatures near normal or cooler than normal here for the next several days. This pattern is actually very evident if we first take a look at normal high temperatures across the country for today, July 31st. If you can look, most of the eastern half of the country or so should be in the 80s, even the 90s for much of the southeast. If we look at today's high temperatures, however, much of the eastern half of the country was stuck in the 70s. Even looking at parts of Arkansas and Oklahoma where they should theoretically be in the 90s today, they were also stuck in the 70s, whereas out to our west, much of the area saw, or much of the region rather, saw 80s, 90s, even triple digits for much of the desert southwest. And we're going to hang on to that pattern for the next several days, as I mentioned. We did see a lot of cloud cover as we saw with the Mercy Hill SkyTrack today, which also helped keep us cool as well, but we never actually saw any rain. We do have a little bit of rain forming down to our south. It looks like it's actually making its way up to the north toward the state line. However, this storm system that it's attached to should make its way to the northeast before most of that rainfall is actually able to make its way into the state line. There is a chance that some of that could reach us by tomorrow, however. But tonight, our area should remain dry. No rain expected in the state line through the rest of your Friday, through the overnight hours of tonight. Tomorrow, we will see a good mix of clouds and sunshine, but cloud cover will slowly increase throughout the day. And then tomorrow afternoon and evening is when we could see some light showers taper off from that storm system, make their way through the state line. Now, heading into Sunday, we should start off the day dry with a good amount of sunshine. However, as we go into the afternoon, a cold front is going to push through, bring us a good chance for some showers and a few embedded thunderstorms as well for the latter half of your Sunday. Tonight's going to be rather cool, a few degrees cooler than normal as temperatures drop into the upper 50s for a low. Partly cloudy skies overhead through the night tonight, slowly increasing clouds through the day tomorrow with a high in the mid-80s with a slight chance for a few isolated showers here and there. Temperatures remaining cool, only staying in the 70s for much of this 7-day here. Good chance for a few showers and thunderstorms for the latter half of the weekend and to enter your next work week. Then the majority of your next week overall should be dry. Eric and Mimi?
We are still on track for the perfect Mimi Murphy weather range, temperature
Sunny
range,
and 75,
right?
yeah.
The beginning of next week for sure.
Looking good.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Lepper.
If you joined us a little late and missed the top of the news, the Rockford Rivets are pausing their season indefinitely. One member of the organization has tested positive for the coronavirus. Jim Chad Bauer isn't specifying if the person who tested positive is a player, coach, or a team employee. He says the Rivets believe this positive case to be an isolated incident, but in the interest of safety, they will put their season on hold for now. The Rivets game tonight at Wisconsin and their home games tomorrow night and Sunday are definitely off. The Cubs and White Sox are still playing ball tonight. The Sox are in Kansas City. The Cubs will host the Pirates. But 6 teams won't be playing ball tonight, including the Cardinals and the Brewers. Their game is off because 2 Cardinals have tested positive. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred told Players Union leader Tony Clark that if more positive tests keep popping up in Major League Baseball, well, the league might be forced to shut down entirely. Manfred also says he is troubled by how many players aren't wearing masks and how many are still exchanging high fives and how many are spitting. The Blackhawks will lace up their skates for real again tomorrow. They'll begin their playoff qualifier series against the Oilers in Edmonton. The Blackhawks go in as big underdogs. Game time is 2:05. The Greater Rockford Men's Golf Classic picks back up tomorrow with round 3 at Sandy Hollow. It's a tight leaderboard right now, as you see. David Nagel leads Marcus Smith and Cody Reimer by a stroke. Robert Dolphelmeyer and 9-time champion Jamie Hogan are 2 strokes back. And the women's semifinal matches will tee off at 7:20 and 7:30 at Sandy Hollow. It'll be Caitlin Seiland against Tichong Dolfelmeyer in one match and Natalie Hooper against Megan Theravong in the other. That's sports. We'll be right back.
These temperatures just keep dropping and getting right in the Murphy comfort zone.
You know what's really nice, though, when we see those overnight lows in the 50s for next week? Give the air conditioner a break, open the windows.
Yeah, good sleeping weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sleep like a rock.
Kevin?
Well, Mimi, do I have some good news for you, because temperatures are going to be much cooler than normal for the next several days here, at least overall for the next several days, which means mid to upper 70s across much of the state line. Even today, we did reach 83 in Rockford. We were sort of the outlier, though, reaching near normal temperatures because much of the area was stuck in the 70s. Currently, we're at 80 in Rockford. We're at 78 in Freeport, 76 in Monroe, and 81 for a current temperature up in Janesville. And these temperatures are just going to keep dropping here. One reason that our temperatures managed to stay so cool today, one very light reason, is because we did have some added cloud cover. However, we did manage to avoid the rain. We should stay away from the rain for the rest of the night tonight. However, we do have a storm system down to our south. It's making its way up to the northeast. You can even see some of the rain down here in central Illinois pushing northward. There is a chance that some of that rain could taper off just in time to reach the state line come tomorrow. But for tonight, temperatures are going to be very comfortable, as temperatures will drop into the upper 50s across much of the area. Some partly cloudy skies and no rain expected through the night tonight. We will reach the mid 80s tomorrow, lower 80s in the outlying areas, with just a slight chance for rain expected. A few chances for rain here and there through the week as temperatures drop into the upper 70s.
Good. All right. Thanks, Kevin.
And thank you for spending time with us. Stay safe.